Cameroon, and I'm excited to co-host our Saturday podcast session at SolaviseTech together with my amazing Chief Technology Officer, Kevin Twe, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Hey, Kevin, can you hear me? How are you doing today? How
I
is
can
Kenya?
hear you loud and clear. I love this. Actually, I can't wait for every fortnight when we come together and just impact. I was just following up and just looking back on when we started these podcast sessions and how we've grown over time. And I just can see most people are feeling the impact of this because as much as we usually do these and people go on and watch on YouTube and they will say, those are very actionable. I've never joined a session and it is so actionable as that. So as always, it's awesome. And then again, thanks so much for the introduction. My name is Kevin Tui. I'm the CTO here at SolaviseTech, and I'm a senior cloud and cybersecurity consultant. So when I'm not doing stuff within SolaviseTech and making impact and building the African community, I'm helping people to consider the cloud more than their lovely and emotionally attached on-premise servers.
Nice. So for those who are joining for the first time, just to let you know that SolaviseTech is a company registered in the state of Virginia, USA, as well as in Cameroon. What do? We simply help connect talents to opportunities. And down the line, we're going to let you guys know the amazing news that we're going to be announcing about how far we've come at SolaviseTech. Our dreams are becoming real by the day as far as connecting talents to opportunities is concerned. We are not just here to do boot camps, train people, but we are here to give people the right skill sets that they need to be able to make it in this thriving economy of the tech landscape. And we are really focused when it comes to the African market. So today with us, we've brought in amazing experts who are going to be sharing some insights with us as far as how you're able to strategically position yourself using your CV or your resume, and how you can craft amazing cover letters. So one of our guest panelist for today is someone who, let me tell you guys, there is power online. Obina actually reached out to me through LinkedIn. He's based in Canada, but he's going to introduce himself better. I don't give us perspective. He reached out to me on LinkedIn a few months back, and this is what he told me. He said, I've been watching your updates on LinkedIn. I've been seeing the kind of things you're doing. I've been seeing how you try to build a community. How can I contribute to what you're doing already? How can I help contribute to what SolaviseTech is offering? A lot of people think maybe just coming on LinkedIn is just about, just posting stuff and going out there. But I said, what the real deal actually happens in the DM. So, Obina, welcome. You're in Canada. So, how is Canada today? Maybe just tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello everyone. Thanks, Simon, for the introduction. My name is Obina Okeke, and I guess through Nollywood, a lot of us will guess where I'm from. So I'm from the southeastern part of Nigeria. I'm based in Canada. I'm a project manager with over 8 years experience, going to a decade experience in project management. Just a little bit of background about me, my education, my certification, all of that. So I worked in different industries. I started off in an oil and gas industry. I worked in IT servicing company. I've also worked in software development company. Currently, I work in healthcare as a project manager. A little bit about my education and certifications. So I do have a bachelor's of technology from Nigeria. I have an MBA from the UK, and I have, for my last count, I think I have about 40 certifications and badges. Majority of it is in project management. So I'm triple certified in PMI, by PMI, I mean. So I have my PMP, I have my PMO CP, I have my PMI ACP. I have a couple of Scrum certifications. And then also I have a couple of cloud certifications, which most of you can relate to. So I have my practitioner certification, I have my solution architect certification. So overall, I'm someone that I love to learn. I believe in the IT space. For you to be competitive in the market, you need to be able to explore different channels, get to know different things. Because you might be in a project, you might be cloud related, you might be people's related. That's if you're in project management. You might be change management, whatever it is. But the key thing is to stay up to date with the trend. New thing now is AI. Everyone is talking about AI. I have couple of trainings and certification on AI from notable bodies. So I'm happy to be here. And someone is right. I actually reached out to him. I have a couple of friends that do comment on his post, and I do see, what he keeps posting. I'm like, who is this guy? So I looked in and I saw he was a doctor. And I have a lot of doctors in my family. My brother is actually here. He's a doctor too in the UK. My wife is a doctor. So I was like, how is this guy a doctor and transiting to tech? And we got to talk and then it was amazing. And I told him, look, I don't know, I believe Africa should be in the map for technology. I don't know, whatever I can do to like assist your company, just talk to people, cheer them up, inspire them to get into the space. And he said, "Oh yeah, there's a podcast that's coming up, and he would like me to join." So this is how this whole thing started. I'm happy to be here. Caveat here, I'm not a recruiter, so don't send me your resume thinking that I'll get you a job. But the thing is, I have experience. I have a network of people around me, people that are already up there in their career, and I have recruiters as friends, and they've shared ideas to me. And I believe if I share one or two of my experience and my friends' experience, it could actually help a lot of us here to be competitive in getting a job and getting the foot into that six-figure job that we all dream of. So thank you for the beautiful introduction.
Nice, nice, nice. Very interesting things. Guys, I don't know, but for me, I'm super, super charged up about what's going to happen right here. Just drop in the chat if you're excited about this session, because in SolaviseTech, we believe in energy. We believe life is energy, right? So just drop in the chat if you're excited about this podcast session. I've been speaking with a couple of persons. Yesterday, I made a post of one of my mentees who is based in the US. He has been working for a while now as a Linux expert, right? And he wants to delve into the cloud. So I've been working closely with him, and I prep him for an interview. He has 3 upcoming interviews. He was given an offer by another company, but he turned down that offer because it doesn't align with his current goals, right? So I made a post on LinkedIn. I was like, are you able to get to that point where you are able to know what you're worth? You're able to define, this role is not for me. So in this session today, you're going to get some of those nuggets on how you will not just be chasing jobs out there, but you can actually attract those roles. So while I catch my breath, I want to pass it over right now to Kevin. You take it over from here with the question session. Then I'm going to come in along the line. But just to let us know that our next panelist is going to be joining us down the line. Like I said, he's currently in Japan. He just traveled for an international conference, and it's actually midnight in Japan. So he'll join us down the line. So Kevin, over.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much for that. And yes, amazing. I was just writing down, and I was just like, "Oh, that's an intro." That like Obi, you are my I when I grow up. But seriously, I've actually been thinking it's very important to look at project management, and even it's in my career mission, because I believe that project leaders play a big role. And funny enough, actually, I decided to be very intentional. I become a PMI member, and maybe I'll decide to take on the PMP, and I'll look out for you for some tips. Anyways, let's get it started. So I love the fact that you've mentioned that you've been in different industries. I don't know whether for a fact that if you've ever, as you've been looking for jobs, whether it has worked for you or against you. I really hope you've come with a CV or a resume to share with us, just to see whether you can tell us how you do it, how you'd explain to someone how you've moved from oil and gas to healthcare. And it will be really great to know. Anyways, starting off on CV and resume, if you rank things, the top 3 elements, what are the top 3 things that you should have in your CV for you to stand out, so that tech role is yours? Maybe you can take us through, and also you can use your own journey and how you've tailored it, because people have a challenge there.
Okay, just to be clear, what you asked. So 3 things that need to be on my resume or your resume to stand out.
Yes.
So just quick overview of what you should have. You should have your technical skills, very important. You should have your work experience, well described, tailored to that job that you're applying. And then also finally you should have your education and certification. So I kind of lump those two together because I think they go hand in hand. But however, for resume, typically your resume should be organized in this way. So you should have your header. Obviously, you should have your name, typically as how you apply as in your IDs. No funky names or no nicknames or something like that. Just the way it is. So people can actually reach out to you. Then your contact information, email address, and also if you have an optimized profile on LinkedIn, you can add that on to your resume. And then flowing to the header, you have your objectives. So essentially like a snapshot of who you are and your key skills, your accomplishments, things that can actually like spark up that interest from a recruiter or hiring manager. So you should have that highlighted. So you aim to bring that interest to your resume. Then after that, you should have your technical skills. So essentially look at the job and then look at the skills that is required. So for instance, a lot of us are looking at, I believe, DevOps engineer. A lot of people here are looking for DevOps engineering job, cloud engineering jobs. So look at the job posting and look at what skills is needed. So for example, migration, if you have that skill, add it on. So be mindful of what you add in your resume because it might go for you and again go against you. And then you look at your education. So where did you go to school? What did you study? And all of that. And then I know a lot of people have been talking down on certifications and all of that. I believe the market is very competitive right now. If you're to be honest with ourselves, it's very competitive right now. So you need to stand out. I know a lot of people just say, "Oh, go to a boot camp, get experience, whatever, you get a job." You need to do a little bit more than that. Get some certifications in line with the job you're applying and add that on because that would actually show a couple of behaviors or a couple of traits about you. So, for example, CKA is a very difficult certification. I know people that I've not written it before and I don't plan to write it, but I have friends that have written it and I know how intense it is. So, if you have that on your resume, a recruiter would definitely know that you want a dedicated person. Two, you invest in yourself because it's not cheap. Three, you are someone that can get things done. So if you have those traits that can be seen just on a resume, it goes a long way to getting you noticed. And then also, some people do add a couple of projects they've done, probably their GitHub link, to showcase whatever project they've done before. I'm not into that line, so I can't really talk much about it. But a lot of people do that, and I think it's a plus too. So if you have this, there's other things you can add, but this is just like a quick overview of what you should have on your resume. But the three key things you should have: one is your technical skills, your experience, work experience, and then education and certifications. Those are the three key things you should have on your resume to get you noticed. Thanks.
Amazing. I loved how you mentioned it and how you said that it's very important to choose skills that are particular to that job role. I'm reminded of someone who told me, I think earlier last month, that they got a very good CV. They wanted this person to really come to the interview and speak about what was there in their CV. So I think the person just put their Kubernetes skills or something, or maybe skills in containerization. Like every recruiter, they would even develop questions from whatever you put in your CV. They can say, hey, you said you did a project on Kubernetes, as you can see here on this work experience. Kindly walk us through what that project was all about. And the thing is, the person was really not that as good at Kubernetes. And it actually really worked against him, although he had very good skills and was trainable and could do, but the fact that he had put a skill that he was not really good at, then they felt like, no, these others might be also a lie or something. So that's quite something that we need to put out. I want to bring out a very controversial question just as a start so that you can just kick off things. We talk about quantifying our achievements. You can say, I increased the company's bottom line by 30% or 20% or whatever kind of I did this. And it has become even like a standard for so many people. But then again, how do you prove that these numbers are true? Or what do you do when you're quantifying the achievements? What should work out? I know most people actually even use AI to just generate some quantifiable achievements, then they just tailor it here and there. But then again, for your own experience, what is your thoughts around these quantifiable achievements and what is and what not?
Well, I believe one should be truthful in whatever we're doing. I think the truth will always set us free, as that common saying goes. One thing though, whatever you're putting in your resume, you should be able to defend it 100%. Um, I hate going, or I dislike going to any interview and I end up coming out feeling stupid with myself. I should be able to, walk people through whatever I claim I have on my resume. And again, one have to be very careful with those numbers because the people that are interviewing are actually experts in that field. They probably know more than you. So if you claim that you did probably a cost saving project, like you used Lambda and all of that, and then you can't talk through it, I'm sorry, like you're just setting yourself up for failure. So you should be able to, even if you did your personal projects and use AI or whatever you used, be able to walk people through it, even if you're not so accurate. So you can claim, oh, I had 20% cost saving in my company, whatever you put there, but you should be able to make sense out of what you can tell the hiring manager. So I keep telling people, whatever you put in a resume, be able to defend it because as recruiters or hiring managers, always look at your resume before they probably invite you. And whatever you wrote in your resume is what interest was, or what was the buzzword for them, or what brought interest. So coming to an interview, I expect to answer questions around that. So for me, I just believe in sticking with the truth too. If you don't cost saving projects, and you can't quantify it, it's good enough. Just leave it like that, because they might put an outrageous number, and then they'll be wondering like, how did you get that number? And that's their interest. Like, come on, tell us how were you able to do it? Even AI can't
Yeah.
do this. So that's for me. Stick with the truth. Even if you have to modify something, be able to defend it. That's essentially what it is. And sometimes we're humans. They don't expect you to have those crazy numbers. They expect you to understand the principles behind what you're doing. Sometimes the logic behind it is what is most important. Having that logic behind it. Okay, this is what I need to do to get this result. Sometimes in IT
Yeah.
you troubleshoot. You all know about troubleshooting, so you don't 100% get everything right at the first try. So they understand that. But if you understand the logic behind it, the reasoning behind it, that is what I believe is key, rather than just putting up some random numbers.
Awesome. Well put. I can't add or subtract from that. As we move on, I know I can see Dr. Samba, I can see Mike here. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Maybe Casey, just catch your breath.
Yes, yes,
Maybe just catch your
definitely.
breath while I bring Mike. Obi, you can just get a glass of coffee or a cup of coffee or a glass of water while I bring Mike on the spot. So great. So Mike, welcome. Good to have you. I know you just recently traveled. You're currently in Japan. How is life over there?
Konnichiwa. Hi
You're
guys.
greeting me in Japanese, right?
Yeah. Um, Happy to be here. Can you guys hear me?
5 on 5. Can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy to be here. It's quite late. It's like midnight. That's why my eyes are drowsy. My face is a little bit, yeah, but I'm so happy that despite the tight schedule here, I can be part of this call and well, share a little bit of my experience helping people to walk through the DevOps and cloud job search, which is actually one of the most important things because no matter how much experience you have, well, I don't know about some people, but most people that I've worked with, they come to DevOps because they want to have money, right? They are not coming, they always, oh, I'm passionate about IT, I want to learn IT, but the passion behind the whole learning is the money part. So many people are coming because they are passionate about money and they are disguising behind like actual passion towards learning IT. But That notwithstanding, DevOps actually is like has proven to be the easy way through which people transition from non-IT background into actually having full-time experience in the IT field, and not just any level of DevOps, but going beyond that. You can see some other people after having DevOps roles, they now start going full scale into programming in different languages, hardcore programming concepts, or some even going to AI and all of that. So there's that possibility to grow. And very briefly, my name is Mike. DevOps in Mike. That's my own small YouTube channel. I've been sharing a lot of tips. I don't always have the time to give all the tips maybe in this conversation, but there's some other tips that you can pass through my channel, and back and forth you see some of those extra tips which I share to help people easily get themselves through the job search process. Now, I'll just highlight some few things which I think are best practices and common mistakes, because a lot of people do some of these mistakes. I even did a video on 10 common mistakes that you make before your interview. And the same mistakes applies for resumes and your professional, the way you set yourself out, right? And a lot of people do these mistakes without even being conscious that they're committing or they're doing these mistakes. Now, I think the previous speaker was talking about having a good resume that matches the job description. What I'll highlight is, as much as you're modifying your resumes, you must be able to keep track of which resume you use for which particular job. Now, I've worked with someone, she has gone through all the interview steps smoothly, perfectly. They loved her profile. She was really good, right? And when they had completed all the conversations with her, at the moment where they were trying to give her a job offer, they realized in the background check that she had applied for that job with like 3 different resumes. And you know how it works. When you use one resume, probably you say you're a DevOps engineer in one, and then in the other resume, you say you're a cloud engineer. In another resume, maybe you say you had 10 years experience. In another, you said 5 experience. So they're like, who are you actually? Right? Because the resume sells you. When I pick your resume, I'm like, okay, if I don't have time to meet Samba now, with Samba's resume in 5 minutes maximum, I should know everything about Samba's professional life. But if Samba says he has been DevOps engineer recently with JP Morgan, and then he's been a cloud engineer recently with so it's kind of confusing. And in as much as you're modifying your resumes for each job, I strongly recommend that it should be consistent. No matter whatever you put in the resume, it should. Never should they get to a point where I even actually had a similar situation. I was applying for someone, and the recruiter reached out to me. I used a different application or a different resume to apply for a job. And then after like 2 3 months, the recruiter reached out, resume, things a good match and so on. They want us to send, or they wanted me to send an updated resume. Now I was lost. Which resume did I actually send to them? Idea, right? Like I've been submitting resumes or job descriptions everywhere. So which resume did I send? And lucky enough, it was a good recruiter, because I sent the resume that was not actually the resume I submitted when I was applying for the job. And it was like, oh, you said this, but I think the resume you submitted 4 months back was a little bit different. Are you sure this is the most recent resume? And I was now trying to like maneuver him over that. But that's just to say that I had no idea on like you would actually track those takeaway is you must be able to keep track of which resume you use for which job, right? Because people going to use AI tools spin up some key, like spin up resumes for them and they just apply for the job, and when it's time to interview, you are not even aware of which resume you use. Now, I think the previous speaker was talking about mastering what you have on your resume. I always say your for people in with ladies or who are married, they will always say that when you see a woman, the first thing you see is what sticks to your mind, right? First impression counts, and that first impression you give the recruiter is. And if you say someone who has done maybe some plastic surgery where they've modified some features, or women who do face makeup, right? Women who do makeup. So as you do the makeup and you look completely different, and then now someone saw your makeup and you're so pretty and stuff, and the moment they start talking to you or they start getting close to you, or maybe they just put their hands on your face, they realize that all of that was layers of trash. Like, this is the person the makeup like this. The guy is like, is it the same person or am I lost? It's the same thing. If you have the wrong image in your resume, you're like someone who has put up a makeup, right? I'm not making not good. If you're making up yourself, you should do it in a way that you can easily match your real self. And that's where you have to strike the balance. And how do you strike that balance? Every word you put in your resume, you must know what is it. The way the interview works, maybe for those who have gone up to fourth or fifth round of technical interview, you come into that technical interview and someone who was just come and the first step, in the second step, in the third or fourth, it just comes in the fifth round and you put something, say Datadog in your resume for login. And the guy just saw Datadog, that's his experience, and he loves Datadog so much, and he just picks only Datadog. He doesn't care about what you have been talking about the whole time. It's just that Datadog you had on your resume, which is his area of expertise, which is what he's comfortable about. But you just copy Datadog from some random. You've now come to meet a Datadog expert without having any clue. So he stands on the fact that you've said you know Datadog, right? You explain it. So he's asking only Datadog questions, only Datadog questions. You cannot, you just copy and paste, right? Even if you're copying and pasting some tools, you must have at least entry-level conversations about that. There should be no word, I repeat, no word, not like no sentence, or there should be no or no place without you knowing what data is there. If you mention any service, you must be able to describe how you've probably used that service. Now, it must not be too accurate of a description on how you use a particular service, right? You can be like, oh, okay, or you implemented that service, or you can still say you're part of a project that was implemented, or you're part of a project that another team was implementing such a solution, and you had some hands-on or some expert collaboration along those lines. So you must first know the resumes you're using for each of your applications. Secondly, for every word you find in your resume, you must be able to justify. And the last tip, which I always share, your resume correct. If you say you're a DevOps engineer in this company in your resume, it should be the same information on your LinkedIn profile. And if you've been working on a couple of projects, it should be the same information which LinkedIn profile, right? Don't have something else in your resume, and then we go into your LinkedIn profile, we have something else. It just brings together a mixture of in fact, it's just a cocktail of confusion. You have good understanding of the content of your resume. You must know which resume you're using for which use case, and then you must match your resume to some of your social media, well, not social media, your professional profile. Try as much as possible to demonstrate your technical expertise. You must not have the opportunity to do all of that in your resume. That's why you have platforms like LinkedIn where you can accurately share some of your project experience. Now, one thing which I'll just highlight is one mistake people do is you say you have 5 years or 10 years of experience in your resume on your LinkedIn, but you go and you're posting how you've done a sweet project on setting up a VPC and subnets and stuff. Who is excited? With years of experience is excited in setting up a VPC. What's exciting is in setting up a VPC as a 10 years, some 10 years plus engineer. It doesn't you have years of experience and you're happy that you hosted a static website on S3. Come on, are you for real? Static website S3 in 2024, and you're happy as an achievement. I'm happy to share the website on S3. Saying your years of experience in your resume, it doesn't add up, right? You're saying one thing, and then you're shooting your leg with your own. You bought a gun for yourself. So each your 10 years of experience, when they your LinkedIn profile, you have a gun to shoot or to counter whatever you have on your resume. So try as much as possible to also make sure that you can put relevant projects. And I always share an example of a friend who there's this tool, draw.io. I don't know if you guys know of draw.io. Draw.io is a tool which you can use to architect solutions. And in most cases, try as much as possible to architect complex solutions. Not necessarily architect them in social media, try to explain some key components around those. If you're wondering how you can be saying, oh, you have been doing some, so don't put basic stuffs, right? Architect some solutions, give 1 or 2 tips around those best, then be like, oh wow, this is what you did this week in your company, right? And then lastly, somebody, I don't know if I have the permission, but in our platform, I'm actually building one platform for we've also tried to customize in that platform. Wonder Prep is an easy way to share your project experience, because the previous speaker was talking about putting your LinkedIn, sorry, your GitHub. Alone doesn't like more maybe a situation which you face in carrying out that project, some of the tasks, some of the implementation and all of that. And through the platform which we've been building, we've tried to incorporate some of these areas which you can easily use to share your relevant experience with recruiters. Maybe Dr. Samba will share that with you when he deems fit. But at this point, like I said, it's midnight. I just had to join this course and I'm happy. Maybe, Doctor, I don't know if maybe 1 or 2 people can ask their questions before I sign out, so I don't leave with maybe people having doubts and so on. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. So everybody, if you did get value out of Mike's presentation, just drop in the chat. And if you have any question right now for him, because it's quite late on his end, he would have to sign out and we make progress with Obi. So any questions for him right now? And just to let us know, for those who are joining for the first time, I know a couple of persons are here who are still about to transition to tech. Maybe you're frightened about the issue of maybe designing complex solutions. How can you defend? Maybe you have 5-10 years of experience as you're about to get into the space. That'll be a question for Obi on how he's going to walk us through that. Thank you very much, Mike. So about the platform we talked about, I'll be updating us down the line more around it. We're having some conversations in the back end on how the community at SolaviseTech can leverage the solution Mike and his team are building. So if you have any questions for him, you can ask right now. But just to let us know that breaking into tech is absolutely possible, even without those several years of experience. There's a way in which you can articulate that, and we want to get from Obi his experience around that. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we're going to bring you on the spotlight so you can ask your question. Let's maybe take the next 2-3 minutes to do that. Any questions? Maybe if you have issues with your mic, you can drop in the chat, as well as for those who may be following through this session on YouTube, you can equally drop your questions on the YouTube live, and Eric will be able to pick them up. Okay, we have Eric, you have the mic, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. Mike, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Obi. Yeah, it's really amazing what you just talked about. The first point that you raised, how do you defend your achievements when somebody says, I did this project, I was able to develop this solution, or I deployed this application and was able to maybe result to, let's say, a 95% increase in efficiency, right? Even in the workload within a company or maybe within a system. I was thinking, if somebody uses ChatGPT to get those figures, right? Probably thinking that probably ChatGPT must have done some calculations behind this, some stuff behind, right? Based on the information you put, based on the tools you've put, based on the services you've used and the solution you've used, you need to come up with that percentage. Okay, for example, if I was able to, set up a startup website, right? How did that increase the productivity maybe of a company, right? Maybe based on some figures, some analytics behind, I was thinking that's where ChatGPT will get those figures to say, hey, okay, based on these tools you've used, based on these services you've used, this is the amount of efficiency, that you can achieve, right? That's just my thought. I don't know if I'm wrong or right in that. Maybe you can.
Yeah,
clarify.
just
Yeah.
to add to that, there are smarter ways in which you can say your experience without necessarily like saying it out directly, right? Now, it is good. Create an S3 bucket to store logs about traffic entry into your VPC or store container logs and so on. It's more productive, right? In one case, somebody has just created an S3 bucket to host that website. The company was facing serious issues on how they can keep track of traffic getting into or out of the network, or how they can keep track of some custom metrics which they had set up with respect to CloudWatch. And you set up an S3 bucket of someone. That way, you've demonstrated experience with S3 on a high level, talking about managing logs for some complex services in your environment. It's completely different from someone just giving a basic experience on and if architect doing a VPC or networking the subnets and showing how you're storing VPC flow logs or subnet flow logs in an S3 bucket is more productive to a company as compared to just hosting a static website. Besides, very few companies will host their content directly using static websites, right? Because if you look at it from a high architectural standpoint, there are so many considerations. You might have some certificates and so on that are not attached to the website. So that's what I think I can put with respect to that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, while I grab my breath, let me pass it over back to Kevin. Kevin, maybe you have some questions for Mike, and then back to Obina as Mike is about to sign out, and then we continue with Obina. Ladies and gentlemen, those who are joining for the first time, just to let you know that at SolaviseTech, we're offering trainings in cloud computing, DevOps, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. There are equally questions in the chat, I think, from Best Man. Kevin will probably be able to take up that call. And this session is going to be wrapping up maximum in the next other session for AWS User Group Japan. So over to you, Kevin.
Thank you so much, Mike. You know, you are physically where I'm going to be speaking to in the next 2 or 3 hours, or an hour or two. But I love this Japan AWS user group. They're having a 24-hour online event, and yeah, I was one of 2 people in Africa who I think got accepted. I don't know whether other Africans didn't decide to apply, including Dr. Samba. Anyways, just just laughing it off. Yeah, so let's get Bestman's questions, then my question, then we can let you get some good night's sleep. So Bestman is asking, how do you get entry-level experience in ML and data science other than self-driven projects? If it is a self-project, how do you project it in your CV beyond giving the link to your GitHub repo?
Now, it's like I would say, right? Entry level, everybody started as an entry level, and we're all faking it we actually kind of fake it to make it a scenario. There's no such thing as entry level once you've mastered your technologies well. That's the first thing I would say, right? It's all in your mind, right? If you have at the back of your mind that, and that's why some people don't even get jobs. They still feel like I'm not enough. I need to do more. I need to do more projects. Maybe I'm not saying the right things and so on. But some recruiters just need to see how you confidently talk about one thing, right? How you share a thought process about one thing, and they'll feel experience in your expressions. The interview is in no way your actual experience. Because let me tell you the truth, most of the engineers you see out there, or most of the people posting, oh, I'm this, I'm that, oftentimes they're not the ones doing those jobs. They have people doing those jobs for them, right? They just have the responsibility to sell themselves during the interviews, right? And what I'm trying to say is, if you have the right skill set, navigating through interviews will not be a challenge, right? And in the process of building the right skill set, maybe machine learning or data science, in the process of building the right skill set, the easiest way is always to work on projects. There are many open source projects. I believe even SolaviseTech has some projects which maybe you've already gone through or which you go through. The easiest way is to go through those hands-on projects. Once you do those projects, you easily know how to share your experience. And oftentimes for institutions like SolaviseTech, their projects will not just be like kind of self-projects, but they'll be real world scenario-based projects, which with just 2 or 3 of those projects, you can have comfortable and healthy conversations in maybe in your interviews or in some kind of other discussion forum. So do some of these hands-on projects, and I always see with the little you know, demonstrate it as an expert. Talk like an expert, right? Somebody should be able to see you with just with just basic experience, but you're talking like someone who's been in the industry for like so long. And you must also know how, like I always repeat, you must know how to sell that out. Don't just talk at the basic level, interact with other services while sharing that basic experience.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Doc. Over to you, Doc. I think you've taken enough water.
Maybe Kevin, you can just maybe you can just make progress while Mike take rest. You can now make progress with Obi. There's another
Okay.
question in the chat regarding the S3 hosting or content on the static website.
Yeah.
Static website hosting on S3, right?
Yeah.
People maybe sharing their journey along the way. How about that? Especially non-tech persons who are transitioning to tech. How about that? What do you say?
Okay, guys, let me leave you. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu.
Mike, before you leave, that is your question.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Okay.
question is yours. Yeah.
I have a question. Okay, I hear him talk about hosting a static web on S3. What about those sharing their learning progress and coming from non-tech? Now, the reason I was saying this is because when you start putting your resume, some people finish their training and they say they have 5 to 10 years of experience in your resume. You should be mindful of that, because recruiters will actually look at that information, right? I've given 2 use case scenarios. One person says they have hosted a static website. That's entry level, like it or not. That's an entry level project, right? But another person saying that they have built or they have created an S3 bucket to manage some logs from production environment, manage traffic logs into and out of the VPC with VPC flow logs, manage some logs as far as the Kubernetes cluster is concerned, or manage some logs, CloudWatch logs for further analysis. That way, you've demonstrated S3 experience and high-level interaction with other services, right? So what I'm saying is, don't just put, if you say, because after you start saying you have 5 years of experience or 10 years of experience and you're excited that you created an S3 bucket, it doesn't work that way. You should show some further professionalism in your little bit of S3 experience. It comes with time. Of course, it comes with time, and it comes with many more projects. So if there are projects which SolaviseTech has, the best advice I'll give for you is do all these projects. And as you're doing the projects, you know how to comfortably match that experience with what can sell you best during your job search or process.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. So how do you say good night in Japanese?
No. I've not yet. I've not seen anybody in the night, but all I know is thank you, arigato.
Okay.
All right.
We'll just bow. Thank you so much, Mike. Okay, over back to you, Obi. From Japan back to Canada. So so that is how international we are. So on to the other time zone, and just wanted to see. I know you've listened to what Mike has shared, and he shared a number of things. Maybe I know you might be having some 2 or 3 points that came to your mind that you wanted to share with us. Maybe you can take the first 2 or 3 minutes just to share with us your perspectives on some of the things that Mike also shared.
Okay, yes, I think he's gone already. I want to say thank you to him for walking us through some of these technical nuances. It just reminds me of when I was taking my certifications, because most of these things were what were asked, S3 bucket, static website, and all of that. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Well, so my takeaway from this is, one, from what he said, one is to be able to defend whatever you put on your resume, be able to walk people through. You can, have a basic experience doing certain projects, but speak with confidence. Speak like someone that has that 10 years, whatever experience you said you have. and be able to. One thing I noticed is a lot of people know what you do, know the technical terms and all of that, but they can't really relate that to someone that is not technical. So it's one, maybe from my project management background, about communication and all of that, to be able to communicate some of these things to someone that is not technical. So how do you explain CI/CD to someone that doesn't even know what cloud is? Being able to communicate this thing in layman's terms is very important. Then for when it comes to resume, some of the pitfalls that I agree with him, and I will just add my own 2 cents to is one, don't use a generic resume for every application you make. Try to tailor it to the job, and then have a folder where you keep all your resumes. So if you applied with this particular resume, just target maybe company ABC. So whenever you need to reference back to it, you can just pull it up and say, oh yeah. So I've been in interviews where I'll be like, oh, I don't even know when I applied for this job. What resume did I use? That kind of thing. So you should be able to trace those things. So you don't fall into that pitfall. You don't even know what you put as your skills and all of that. Then also another thing I'll add is overloading your resume. Please keep your resume simple, easy to read. 2 pages is enough. And just put let's reverse some of these things. Put yourself as in the shoes of a recruiter. You have 100 applications and then to review, right? Resumes to go through. And then someone has a 4 pages resume. Let's be honest. Do you think you're going to go through all that 4 pages? It's really hard. Sometimes, the best way to place your mind is put yourself in that person's shoes, and then you can easily know how to refine your resume. So don't overload your resume. Put the key points. Those will get you at least foot to getting an interview. Then another thing again that I think I don't think we've mentioned it yet is ignoring key terms. So most of these recruiters use ATS, that's application tracking service or something. Those things are actually scan through your resume, pick up keywords, and match them, and see how many percentage you match to those job applications or job postings. So people that have high matching typically do get called for interviews. So sometimes human beings don't really look through all these resumes. It's computer software. So if you use those key terms, it will actually help you in getting interviews. For example, if you did a migration project, don't say, "Oh, I did a project that I transferred data from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket." Use those key terms. Migration. I did automation projects. I did a project where it scaled to this amount of percentage wise or whatever. Disaster recovery. You know, I did a project that had to do with this. So when those softwares go through your resume, they pick up those terms and then they'll tag your resume as a high matching resume. So those are the key takeaways I'll say and key input I'll put in that will help us, this journey of getting those interviews. In addition to what Mike said actually before now.
Right. So maybe I chime in there, Obi. So we have a couple of persons on the call who are about to transition to tech, right? It's their first time to get into tech. And how can you help these people, be prepared mentally on how they can equally adjust their resumes to match the roles they want to apply for? Let's say, for example, they get into the areas of cloud computing, DevOps, or data science, machine learning. What are those skill sets that you can advise during the crafting of your resumes or cover letters they have to highlight, and how to navigate through the interview in order that they are able to stand out as well in a very competitive tech space with those who have already had maybe a tech background? What are those key skills that you're going to help, you want to share with them to be able to stand out? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks so much for that question. So first thing I would say is don't go through this journey alone. Try to involve experts to it. Like the way I reached out to you on LinkedIn, because I like what you were doing. So have a good LinkedIn profile, reach out to people that are already in the industry, because those are the people that would actually hold your hands and walk you through the process. I can't 100% say, oh, this is how they tell you want to get into DevOps, this are the key skills you need to have. But on a balance of skill, I'll say there should be networking skills. There should be database. There should be security. because that is key. Now everyone is talking about security. Then scalability, how do you scale? Disaster recovery. So these are like you can go through the AWS. I think AWS have like a definition around it, or the key things that you need to know when you are using AWS and cloud and all of that. So have those bit of those skills, um, you know, in your resume, and actually know it, not just having it in your resume, but actually knowing it, and working through projects, buy courses online, and work through them, and actually be able to defend those things. Those are the key things. Then for resume, positioning your resume, we can look at people's profile. Like people's profile actually can help your resume. So look at people that have like similar kind of years of experience, like 5 years experience, 2 years experience, that are actually in the industry. Look at what they have on their resume. Try to mirror some of this. But the key thing is, if you want an interview, make sure that you tailor your resume to those jobs that you're applying for. So you might be applying for cloud engineering job. You don't necessarily need the project management certification on your resume, you know. So those are the things that you have to be careful about, not just having jack of all trades, but streamlining it. But I would say have someone that will mentor you, have someone to speak to, even if it's a friend, whoever it is. Right now I have like 3 people that I'm actually mentoring to get into project management, and some of them have written the certifications and all of that. So they're on the right track. You might not really know until you speak to an expert if you're actually doing the right thing. Because sometimes you'd be like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. But you need someone to like actually help you validate what you're doing. Like you're actually in the right track, you're actually doing the right things, or you need to tweak this, you need to tweak that. So this is like the advice I'll give for someone that is trying to get into the industry, network, get to know people that's like someone like Mike that's already a DevOps engineer, Samba, network with these people, a lot of them are friends, a lot of them are actually waiting for people to reach out to them. I myself, I'm an introvert. I don't really, I'm not like in your face kind of person. But if you reach out to me, I'll actually respond to you. I'll schedule, consultation. I don't even, chat or whatever. I just have that conversation because I love conversation. That's what project management is all about: communication and having conversation with people. So reach out to people, get their own insights. They'll help you tweak 1 or 2 things. It might just be one thing that you're just missing out in this whole journey. You might actually have all the knowledge, but you just need to position yourself, know how to actually communicate some of these skills you have, because it's key. Because sometimes you listen to some of these guys that have all these technical skills and you don't even understand what they're saying. I don't know, I've any more been in this situation. You bought a course on Udemy and you're listening to this course and you can't relate to what they're saying. You can't even understand what they're saying, but you listen to this other course and then you can relate to every step of the way and it just makes sense. You listen to Samba, I'm sure a lot of you, the way he talks, you probably like what he's saying. Even if he's talking about the most complicated cloud tool or something, but you just understand what he's talking about because he breaks it down to the barest minimum for you to understand. So these are the, I'll say tricks and, that you can actually leverage on to, be effective in your journey to getting a job in the cloud or something.
Thank you very much, Obi. And key points stand out there, and which are the major points, say, around soft skills, effective communication. He has said this over about 5 times. How do you effectively communicate your skill set? No matter how good you are technically, if you can't communicate in such a way that the other person on the other side can be able to understand, remember, we say in the cloud space right now, or maybe the tech space, most companies are trying to work in an agile way, which means they want to have this continuous feedback loop, continuous collaboration with teams. So if you're really good at what you do, but you can't collaborate or communicate with every other team member, then such teams may find it difficult to have you on board. So which means that if you are currently working as a doctor, if you're currently working as a nurse, if you're currently working as a teacher, whatever profession you have right now, if you have these skills in your current profession, you can just transfer those skills into tech now as you're trying to transition. So those skills that you have, focus, attention to detail, communication, those are the things that you can just simply transfer into tech right now, and you find yourself easily make progress. So those are some of the skills equally to add on your resume. And thank you very much. Right now, you can drop your LinkedIn URL in the chat. These podcast sessions are equally platforms where we want to help connect with each other. Our objective for SolaviseTech, like we said, is to connect talents to opportunities. And every person is just one net or one contact away from their breakthrough. I always believe that it always happens, right? From every call, from every conversation. Kevin, for example, always uses story, join SolaviseTech through our Saturday technical workshop sessions. All right. And just to let us know, as we're wrapping up with this particular podcast, next week we're going to have an amazing technical session. The technical sessions are actually not free, like we have the podcast sessions. So next week, next Saturday, same time, we're going to be having an amazing deep dive workshop, which is about building a 3D architecture using Terraform for those who are doing AWS and DevOps. Actually, for those who already have some experience around the cloud space, but probably you're looking for a great project you can actually do live, not just going to click, have results, but here you'll be doing it practice, maybe troubleshooting and so on, whether upon the field. So if you're interested in that particular project, you can equally reach out to us to get to enroll for it, and you part of that technical session. And just to let us know as well, on Monday, the next cohort for our AWS and DevOps bootcamp begins. It runs Mondays to Wednesdays from 9 p.m. Cameroon time to midnight, as well as Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to be having the next cohort for data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's going to run for actually 8 months, but for the cloud and DevOps program, it's 4 months deep dive. All right, and then Saturdays we have projects. After the 4 months of bootcamp, we're going to have about 3 months of remote work internship. We have talents right now who are equally on remote work internship for a company in the UK. And we have other exciting information we're going to be sharing with the community down the line. We just keep it that for now as far as connecting talents into the job market, into the job pool is concerned. Quite exciting information right there. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your LinkedIn URLs. And just to respond to the question from Joseph, yes, Joseph, putting yourself out there as aspiring cloud engineer most likely may put the recruiters away from you, because they're looking for people that have the work experience per se, right? So put yourself in that role where you're aspiring to get to. Call yourself that cloud engineer, all right, as you're working towards it, because the market is very competitive. If you put yourself just as aspiring, okay, or you're a student looking forward to, and there are many other people out there who have the expertise, right? So how do they get to you? And like Obi said something here, you don't need to build 10 projects. You don't need to build 20 projects, okay? If you master 1 or 2, then you're able to articulate well. Every question asked in that interview, you can actually tell all your answers, whether technical questions or non-technical questions, you can bring them around that particular project which you've done. For example, you've built a project, let's say, you're building a CI/CD pipeline on the team, and people were confused. Oh, should we use Terraform as our tool? Maybe for those who are here for the first time, you may hear some of these terms. It's okay, but for those who are enrolled, as we talk about the trade, you're going to know more about this. So probably you're having a conversation, and somebody say, "Oh, let's use Terraform as a tool." Another person says, "No, let's use CloudFormation." There's that argument. At the end of the day, what tool should we use, right? And then an interview, they ask you, "Have you built a 3D architecture, or have you built a CI/CD pipeline? Can you walk us through?" You walk them through, and then another question they ask you, can you guide us on a time where you had a misunderstanding with a colleague and how you're able to resolve that misunderstanding, right? So you could bring them back to that scenario where a colleague was proposing that you guys use CloudFormation, and you were rather thinking you should use Terraform, and you spend time to now educate the colleague on saying, hey, maybe Terraform is actually a cloud agnostic tool, and CloudFormation is a cloud native tool, and probably you guys were trying to look at going multi-cloud in the future. If you use CloudFormation right now, it may be difficult trying to move maybe to the other platform, maybe Azure, using Azure ARM templates for writing infrastructure code. But if you use Terraform right now, it's cloud agnostic, is seamless, right? You can use it on whatever platform. That was the time you had a misunderstanding, and you were able to educate your colleague on that, and they bought into your idea, and everybody was happy, right? So things like that, you don't need to do too many projects, but at SolaviseTech, we get to work on a lot of projects right now. The project scheme we're working on is at least 8 different projects, which you're going to document on your GitHub, and you're able to articulate them, discuss them in your interview. So thank you so much. As we wrap up this session, I want to pass it over to Kevin, who's going to wrap up the session. If there are any questions, you can drop them in the chat, and you can reach out to us, as well as Eric is going to drop. If Eric is on the call, I think we lost Eric. You can reach out to us on our different handles. We probably have our LinkedIn handles in the chat as well for those who just joined. We're going to grab it shortly. So, Kevin, I pass it over back to you. Maybe take 1 or 2 questions, and then we come to the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. For my case, I just like, first of all, to appreciate DevOps with Mike, as well as Obi, for taking your time out of your weekend. I don't know what local time it is in Canada. What time is it, Obi?
It's actually like 8:15 a.m.
Ah, nice, nice. So you're just about to start
Vancouver,
your
actually.
day.
Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver time.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. So first of all, thanks so much for waking up early, coming here, providing us nuggets and everything. You can follow, you can connect with Obi on LinkedIn. And if you have any final questions, feel free to ask. And just in case, I'd appreciate Dr. Samba, my co-host, for a very amazing co-hosting as always. And again, the whole SolaviseTech team, because we might look good on the front end, but for a full stack, you need the back end, right? And back end is where all the things is happening. So Eric, Asaf, Atanga, every member of the SolaviseTech team, including our students who joined us, I'm so happy, and thank you so much for always being with us. So as usual, what we usually do is we do a group photo. So please do take this opportunity to turn on your video. You don't want to look bad on Obi's profile, as well as Dr. Samba's thousands of followers. Same case to mine, right? So please, let's turn on our videos so that we can take one group photo. You'll appear on Monday prime time on SolaviseTech page. So yeah, thank you so much, Jane. Thank you so much, Steve, Cyril, Moses. Yes, let's keep on doing this. If you can turn on a video. I'll give it like 5 more seconds or 10. Thank you, Joseph. I loved your questions. I loved your engagement. You really do well. I thank you, Maurice. Thank you, best man. I've seen your connection request. I will definitely accept you. You look like a best man already, so I think I should invite you to my wedding. Anyways, so Emmanuel, thank you so much, and everyone. So I think we are good to go for a screenshot. So let me do this. Again, I think I looked away, so let me just do another one. So let me save that one. Continue smiling, even if you are in your own small space, thinking of supper or thinking of lunch or thinking for an early morning breakfast like Obi. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. The screenshots are there and I will share with you. Thank you so much for that. Feel free to turn off your videos. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So any parting shots? Yes, I think it would be great to get a parting shot from Obi if there's any.
Right. And just to let us know that, please, as soon as you post on LinkedIn, try to tag us, so we can equally engage with your post, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I think we can now, get a parting shot from Obi.
Okay, yeah, so thanks everyone for joining, and thank you, Samba and Kelvin, for inviting me here to give a talk on how to optimize your resume and get competitive in the market. Yeah, so I know a lot of us are, trying to get into DevOps, cloud engineering, and all of that. But I believe there's other, career. I'm trying to market project management and Scrum Master and all of that. You know, it's a good career. It's very stable. I would say it's needed everywhere. There's a lot of projection that they'll need a lot of project managers, especially in the US, millions over the coming years. So if you really want to, get a satisfying career that pays you 6 figures and all of that, think about project management. You can reach out to me. I'll guide you through on how to get your certifications. And I know a lot of us are project managers. You might not realize it. You might have done projects in one of your previous jobs or your current jobs, but just about like communicating it and being able to express it on your resume. So yes, I wish everyone well in your journey to the cloud, to IT, and hopefully we'll get there someday. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And we'll be happy to invite you invite you back now to tell us how you can connect IT with project management. I'm going to be one of the very key participants on chat and on audio. Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate it. Yeah, bye-bye. Yes, over to you, Doc.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. It was nice having you. We're going to share, those who've joined our WhatsApp group, we're going to share resources regarding our training. We offer scholarship programs for those who are in Africa. We are bringing tech to Africa. A lot of us are not aware of the power that tech brings to the marketplace. And so we really want to have as many Africans as possible to leverage on this tech skill set. So as soon as you receive our flyers, our posters, try to reach out to your friends back home, share with them this. You never know whose life you're going to actually impact. Thank you very much, everybody, for the feedback. Thank you, Joseph, for the feedback. We appreciate it. And do have a lovely weekend to spend time with family. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.